Yesterday, CNN published a story with the headline, "Here are all the active hate groups where you live." Now, this wasn't a list narrowed to neo-Nazis and violent anarchists, actual hate groups. Instead, the list was full of regular conservative organizations like the Alliance Defending Freedom, the Family Research Council, and others. In other words, the list was too large and grossly biased. And that's because CNN wasn't listing real hate groups. They were just listing hate groups as defined by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a totally irresponsible left-wing organization that casually throws around the term hate group in order to raise money. And it's raised a lot of money doing that, terrifying people. CNN eventually scaled back its absurd and irresponsible headline, changing it to the Southern Poverty Law Center's lists of hate groups. Better, but still bad. Why is CNN doing the bidding of the Southern Poverty Law Center? They're not coming on to tell us why. We asked someone from the Southern Poverty Law Center to come on to explain their side, but they just declined like they always do because they are cowards. So instead, we are joined by Tony Perkins. He's president of the Family Research Council, one of the groups slandered by CNN and the SPLC. Tony, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. So you wake up to see that CNN, which is this supposed news network, is describing you as a hate group? What was your reaction?
Well, it was the fact that it's irresponsible and it's reckless, and this is troubling because the media should not be using the Southern Poverty Law Center and their hate map as a means of communicating what's hate and what's not. Because this, in particular, the Southern Poverty Law Center and their hate map have been linked in federal court to domestic terrorism, and that occurred at our place when a gunman came in armed with 100 rounds of ammunition with a hit list that came off of the Southern Poverty Law Center's hate map. So this is real, it's dangerous, and it's reckless for the media to use them.
Wait, so a lunatic read your organization described as a hate group and showed up with a gun in response?
Yes, it's been, there was 5 years ago this week that occurred based upon this map that CNN put up as a new version of the map, but it has all of us listed. You can go to the website. It shows you how to get there. And this gunman confessed to the FBI that that's where he got his list, was from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Look, they want everybody to think that they're in the crow's nest looking out on the horizon for America's well-being when they're vultures that are preying on the fears of Americans. Look, they've gone after Ben Carson. They've gone after the president. Even in Minnesota, they're pushing policy. They're not an objective arbiter sitting on the sidelines. They went into Minnesota pushing a liberal policy in a local school. Parents organized against them, and instead of arguing the merits of whatever the policy was, the Southern Poverty Law Center slapped the label of hate group on these parents. That's how they operate. They're a fear-mongering organization. They've raised over $350 million, which they're sitting on, most of it in offshore accounts. It is irresponsible for the media to use them as a source. The Department of the Army has moved away from them. The Department of Justice, even under the Obama administration, moved away from them because of their questionable methodology.
Well, they're totally fraudulent, and it's not even a close call. I mean, they're completely over the top. You spend 10 minutes on their website, and it's clear this is not a group concerned about hate. This is a fundraising organization with a very specific political agenda, smearing people in order to raise money. Like, it's not, no journalist, no honest journalist would ever use them as a source. It's shocking, actually.
Well, and that's the problem.
The last question, did CNN call you? So CNN describes you as a hate group. You've already had some nutcase with a gun show up when this happened last time. Did they call you to say, hey, by the way, we're going to describe your organization as a hate group? Do they let you know ahead of time?
No, we've called them. We've been having discussions with them about this because it's endangering our people once again. Look, and what's happened here in this last week is again, another case of irresponsibility from the media. You remember when James Hodgkins came to Washington, D.C. with a hit list? Yeah. Now, we don't know the extent to which he was visiting with SPLC's website, but we know he was communicating with them. His website or his computer showed that, but he's dead, so we don't know all the facts. But Steve Scalise, who he shot, a friend of mine who I spoke with yesterday, he was on SPLC's site multiple times. They went after him, trying to deprive him of his leadership position. And after that, the media then calls for, hey, we got to ratchet down the rhetoric. We've got to calm down here. No. We've not heard those calls this time. No,
of course not, because they're completely irresponsible. They're completely. I'm sorry, we're out of time. I feel for you, Tony. I hope this doesn't expose you in any dangerous way. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Tucker.